Hi everybody, welcome back to Call of Duty Modern Warfare Warzone, and this is my beginner's guide to attachments for weapons, what they do and how to level them up. So if you've got the multiplayer version of Modern Warfare, this will all be familiar territory already, you'll know all about it. But if you're new to Warzone, maybe you've got the free-to-play version or you've just bought Modern Warfare 2019 and you're thinking, what is the fuss about these custom loadouts? You know, why do they make such a difference? Well, they make such a difference because it enables you to take into the multiplayer, into the battle royale, or plunder, the loadout of your choice, so the gun and the weapon and the perks of your choice. But we're just talking about guns and attachments here. So in plunder, when you first start off and you parachute in, you can choose which loadout you want to go with. And in battle royale, you can call in a special airdrop, which then allows you to choose one of your loadouts. The problem is, though, when you first start off, you're probably faced with something like this, where you go into the gunsmith, which is where you add the attachments, and you've got very little unlocked. And you're like, well, this isn't very good, is it? So if you look in the top right hand corner of the screen, you'll see weapon level. And for me, the Grau 556 is weapon level 1. But then if we go into the attachments, you'll see I've unlocked the flash guard, but in order to unlock the next thing, I've got to get it up to weapon level 10. So how do you do that? Well, simply by using the gun, killing people, and you do get XP actually for your guns for just running around with a gun in battle royale mode. I'm pretty sure as you're doing objectives and things, you'll get some gun XP. So then the gun, levels up, and then you can unlock more attachments. If you've got the free-to-play version of Warzone, I would suggest playing Plunder, because if you play Plunder, you can choose which loadout you want to go in, you can choose the gun that you want to level up, and you can just use that gun and shoot people with it, and then you can make sure that you level it up. Also, if you click in the left stick on your controller on Xbox or PlayStation, you can find the double weapon XP tokens that you may well have earned, and you can activate one of these before you go into a match, and then you'll level up the guns faster. So I guess quickly I should talk about which guns you should think about spending your time on. You can't really go wrong with the M4. That's really good in lots of situations. And it's generally accepted that the AUG is a good weapon for Warzone, as long as you upgrade it enough to be able to use the 5.56 bullets, especially the drum round, if you're playing squads. Other guns I would definitely look at in the assault rifles. I would look at the Kilo 141, that's cool. I would avoid the burst guns. The M13's cool, the SCAR bit's slow, AK bit's slow, and the FAL is a semi-automatic rifle. If you fancy something a little bit different, then have a go with the FAL. It does loads and loads of damage. SMGs, we talked about the AUG. MP5, I'd probably look at. The Bison, actually, I quite rate that for Warzone because it's such a big magazine. Shotguns, no. LMGs, it's really just the PKM. And then marksman rifles, it depends whether you're going to be taking them in, but probably the Mark II is good. But really, if you're taking a weapon in as a secondary, so you're going to be using the overkill perk, you really want to be taking a sniper rifle. It's really the HDR or the AX50, because both these guns are one-shot kills to the head, even if your enemy has full armor. Okay, so let's go back to leveling up guns. So as we said, as you level up the gun, so let's have a look at the Grau. This one's level 1, and as we level it up, I'll get access to more of the attachments. The other way that you can have access to them is via the blueprints that you will earn from completing challenges and ranking up the season pass. And if you see this thing here that says Armory, if you click on that, see, I've earned a blueprint for the Ram 7 called the Corruptor, and we can have a look at it. And as you can see, it's got a lot of attachments on it that I don't have access to already if I was just to try and use them. But if I select the blueprint, all of a sudden I've got a gun with all these attachments. In fact, if we go and look at like the optic, you'll see that I've got that one. Got the tac stock, close quarter stock, sleight of hand. So it's unlocked them already. So that can be a very useful way of having a better gun than a normal gun with nothing on it, until you can start leveling it up by shooting people. So the next question is, which attachment should you use for your guns? So what if we do this? Let's have a look at the let's have a look at my favourite one, actually, the M4. Really like the M4. So the M4, really nice assault rifle. Easy to control, 5.56 ammunition. There's loads of ammunition for it lying around the map when you're playing multiplayer. It's good at short range, good at medium range. You can tap fire at long range. It's not the best gun in all situations, but it tends to be a good gun in all situations apart from long and very long ranges. So when you're deciding which attachments to put on, in the old Call of Duties, it used to just be a case of, I'll put something on and it'll give me an advantage. Sometimes it would give you a little bit of a disadvantage, but what happens in Warzone and Modern Warfare is almost every single attachment gives you quite a big disadvantage. It gives you an advantage and a disadvantage. There's a few that don't have any disadvantages, but they don't have quite as much as a buff to the gun. So if we start, for example, say with what you can put on the muzzle. So you can put a flash guard on it so people can't see you from far away. However, your bullets won't be going quite as fast. And to give you a rough idea of what's going on, if you look at the bars in the box in the middle of the screen, you can kind of just see things like range is changing. Mobility goes down and control goes down as well because the gun's getting heavier. An interesting option is the monolithic suppressor, which strangely for a suppressor increases your damage range with the gun as well. However, it does make your aim down sight speed slower, so you look down the sights a lot slower, and it makes your walking steadiness worse, so the gun sways more. Also, it reduces your mobility, so that's as you're running around, because the gun is getting heavier. So don't always just look at what the pros and the cons, look at the bars, but also when you actually put the attachments on, how the gun feels. Does it suddenly become a little bit sluggish? And you tend to, when you're looking at the attachments, try not to have too many things that will make your aim down sight too slow. Try and counter them with things that make it faster. So, for example, I really like the 3.5 times optic in all situations. Really odd. I used to use a red dot all the time or a hollow. Now I use this thing, and I love it. But its con is that it makes the aim down sight speed slower. So the chances are that enemies might well get the jump on me. So excuse me. To get around that, I apply the stippled grip tape, which not only gives me a faster aim down sight speed, but also gives me a faster sprint to fire speed. So when you're sprinting across the map and you see somebody and you pull the trigger, there's a delay as your character comes out of sprinting and starts shooting. With the stippled grip tape, that is faster. The disadvantage is my aiming stability isn't as good, so it will kind of drift around the view when you're looking down the sights. But that helps to counter the fact that I put optic on it, and I also use the Merc foregrip. Now the Merc foregrip I really like because it makes your hip fire more accurate, so when you're in close quarters, and it makes your recoil control better. So especially say you're engaging targets at medium to long range, you can stay on target. You know, when you're going full auto, say there's a guy with a DMR or a sniper who's trying to hit your head and he's firing away, bang bang bang, you know, you can go full auto, and even if he's quite a long way away, you can stay on target. You can be getting bullets into him, which means that he's going to be shaking around, it's going to throw his aim off, and you may well be able to kill him first. The disadvantage though is that my aim down sight speed is longer, and my aim walking speed gets slower, so I can't walk around looking down sights as fast as I could do. But I found that with the rear stippled grip, that kind of balances those. I use the 1 milliwatt laser because this is one of those few attachments that actually have no negative, and all it does, it just gives you better hip fire accuracy. So again, this is for that situation where I come around a corner and I bump into somebody and we both hip fire, hopefully with a 1mm laser. It will give me that little bit more accuracy. It tightens up the spread of the bullets, which means they will die first, even if they're using something like a submachine gun. If they've got a shotgun, you know, you're dead. But also, the 1mm laser, unlike the more powerful ones, it's not visible to enemies when you're wandering around. So that's cool. And then the final perk I put on my M4 for all uses is sleight of hand. So this means I can reload quicker. You know, you shoot at somebody, bang, you reload. Shoot at someone, bang, you reload. All that sort of stuff. Really good, really good perk to have. I would say, however, if I was using this gun in squads, I would forego sleight of hand, and I would put on the 60-round mags, or probably the 50-round mags, to give you the ability to take on more than one person who's in the same team at the same time. So what happens in squads is often you'll bump into the whole squad at once. They'll all suddenly appear, and you're like, ah! And if you only got the standard mags, you're going to run out of ammunition. You know, you'll kill one and then you'll be shooting at the other one, and then you'll have run out of ammo. So you need those extended mags to be able to keep going. I mean, put the 60-round mags on this and it's almost like an LMG, but what you are sacrificing is your aim down side speed's getting slower, but also your mobility is going down significantly because the gun is getting heavier. For solos, however, although you can come across more than one enemy at a time, they're not right next to each other like they are in squads, because if they were, they'd be shooting at each other. So that's more than enough time to kill one, reload, and then go for the next one. So when you're looking at your attachments, that's basically the process you go through. Look at, say we were looking at stocks. All right, say the Forged Tac CQS stock is a very popular one. This makes your gun snap down sights a lot faster. So that would be a good counter to having something like the Merc foregrip. So if you wanted a gun that was an M4 that was better in close quarters, could aim down sight quicker, maybe you would forego the Merc foregrip and then put on the close quarters stock. And what it means you can do is that if you've got something like the HDR sniper rifle, which is a really heavy sniper rifle, what you can do is if you put the FTAC Stalker scout stock on it, it will really aim down sights quicker. And funnily enough, with the sniper rifles as well, is if you take the standard, so it normally comes with that big scope on it, but if you change it to a smaller scope like the Cronin 3.5 times, the aim down sight speed goes up. And then you can also do something like put the monolithic suppressor on to give you more damage range and obviously suppress the sound, and you've got a very powerful sniper rifle that actually aims down sight reasonably fast. In fact, if I didn't have the monolithic suppressor on it, this baby would aim down sight almost as fast as my assault rifle. You're sacrificing zoom range because you're putting a smaller scope on, but with the 50 cal, especially in multiplayer, you just want to get a bullet into somebody, not necessarily go for their head every time. And that can often be the case in Warzone as well, because if you've got enough time to line up a headshot with a sniper rifle scope, like the big, I think they're 6 times or 5 times, aren't they, or 12 times, you've probably got enough time to line up a headshot with 3.5 times on it as well. And if you haven't, you probably should be engaged with your other weapon, your assault rifle or your submachine gun anyway. Now, one of the things I would definitely recommend is what you should do is you should play around with the guns. Don't get stuck behind the same one, and you should watch videos from the likes of Exclusive Ace especially and Drifter on YouTube, and they do best gun setups for different situations, and they'll tell you what is the best setup for the AUG, what is the best setup for the AK, what is the best setup for the M4, for the FAL, all these sorts of things. And you'll discover things that you think, oh, I should give that a go. That's kind of how I came up with this setup here for the AUG, because people were saying, I think it was Exclusive Ace did a video and said, look, this is the best gun for Warzone. It's not the best gun for multiplayer, because you'd think the best gun in multiplayer would be the best gun in Warzone, but it's not, because of the time to kill is much longer. You want to go for something else. So I've got this. This is something I play around. So this is an AUG with a drum mag on it. So it's got 60 rounds. So it's like an LMG. It's got the forged tack stock on it. It's got the stipple grip tape to make it aim down sight faster. Merc foregrip to control recoil at medium to longer ranges, and it's got the monolithic suppressor. However, what I've found is that in fact probably a better version of the AUG is this one. After playtesting with it, is where I take off the suppressor, so it's much snappier, the gun really pulls up quick, and I go over to the 30 round 5.56 mag, and I add sleight of hand so I can reload faster. This is probably better for solos, because again I haven't got those long the short time, you know, where you run into a squad of people. But because the gun is much lighter now, my character runs around a lot faster, and I can engage groups of enemies by, you know, shooting, moving, reload, shooting, that sort of thing, a lot better than I could before. So hopefully that's helpful, talking about attachments, how to level them up, and how to look at them in terms of pros and cons. And hopefully that will get you some better weapons in Warzone. Oh, one final thing actually. When you're in Warzone and you do pick up like some of the purple or gold weapons, the legendary ones, have a go with them. Some of the setups are really amazing, and you'll think, I should try this. Anyway, put your questions and comments down below. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you again soon.